पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So, the 9th verse was being discussed. Andham tama pravishanti ye avidyam upasate tato bhuya ivate tamo yahu vidyayam rataha. He falls into darkness, andham, into blinding darkness. Ye avidyam upasate. He who worships avidya. And it was told that avidya here means that which is different from vidya, which is upasana. So the terms vidya and avidya here does not mean normally what is understood in Vedanta as ignorance and Brahma Vidya. It is not meant here. Here avidya means karma and vidya means upasana. So, ye avidyam upasade, he who does karma only, the rites only he does. He gives no thought to the spiritual content in that actions or the significance, the spiritual significance of those physical action, physical rites. Such a person falls into darkness. Now, tato bhuya ivate tamaha yau vidyayam dataha. And he who is attached only to vidya or upasana and he keeps away from karmas, he who devotes himself only to meditation and does not perform the rites, he who neglects the rite and simply concentrates on the meditational aspect only, he also falls into even deeper darkness. Now, what is the reason this was said? Because rites, if we don't perform rites, that what is called the swabhavika karma and jnana, that is the basic, that crude desires and actions will overpower oneself if one is not engaged in scripturally ordained actions. Then that will take over and it will bring man down and it will degenerate a man. That is why he may be even born as, even lower gati will happen, born as animals or something like that. So, it is told that he has to do scriptural actions. That is why scriptural actions are ordained, so that one can get over the crude vasanas that prompts one to crude actions. So, this is the reason why one should engage in scriptural actions. And again, the scriptural meditation alone should not be done, because scriptural meditation also should not be done. Ihato samuccichishaya avidvadadi ninda kriyate tatracha यस्य एग समुच्चयः संभवति न्यायतः शास्त्रतो वा तदिह उच्यते. That is, by logic and by scriptures. What is the combination that is talked about here? We should understand combination. Through logic, what is to be combined with what? This has to be understood in the light of scriptures as well as logic. And what is that? Yad Daivam Vittam Devata Vishayam Jnanam Karma Sambandhitvena Ubanyastam Na Paramatma Jnanam. Yad Daivam Vittam Devata Vishayam Jnana has to be combined with karma. That is the main thing that is clarified here is what is meant is Devata Vishayat Jnana is meant by the word Jnana. It is meant knowledge connected with the gods. Meditation on the gods is meant here, not Brahma Vidya. This is the main clarification that is made here. Devam Vittam Devata Vishayam Jnanam Karma Sambandhitvena Ubanyastam Na Paramatma Jnanam. That should be combined with work, because Brahma Vidya cannot be combined with work. This is the point. Vidya, now Shastra, some sentences from scriptures are being quoted to nail this fact. Vidya Devaloka iti Pruthak Phalashravana. It is told in similar scriptures that through Vidya, through Upasana, you get the world of the gods. So, Vidya here doesn't mean Brahma Vidya, it means the world of the gods. That is what is meant here. Vidya Devaloka iti Pruthak Phalashravana. Tayoho Jnana Karmanoho Iha Ekega Anusthana Ninda Samuchchichishaya Na Ninda Para Eva Ekegasya Pruthak Phalashravanat. So when it is Ninda, when it is censured that Andham Tama Pravishanti, he enters into darkness. He who sticks to karma alone and falls into darkness. He who sticks to upasana alone falls into deeper darkness. This should not be understood literally. What is meant here is that it should be combined. Whenever censure is presented in the scriptures, how it should be understood is, it is not for the sake of censure that those passages are there. Actually, something else is being praised. So the purpose of censure is to praise something else. Not just for the sake of censure, those passages are there. Like for instance here, censure is not to say that one should not perform upasana, one should not perform karma. That is not the purpose. The purpose is upasana and karma is being praised here. Combination is being praised here. That is the purpose of censure. So, Tayo Jnana Egega Anushtana Samut Na Ninda Para Eva Egegasya Pruthak Phalashravana. Because each has got its phala pruthak, that different results are the Shastras are giving us. If you perform karma, you get Devaloka. If you perform karma without upasana, you will get Pitruloka. So, these phalas are not bad. You will get phalas. But here that ninda is done, censure is done, because you will get a higher result if it is combined. If you combine karma with upasana, you will get something else, some higher result. So that is the purpose of the separate censure of each. Vidya Devaloka. Now, Vidya Tadarohanti. Through Vidya, you climb to that world, you attain that world. Vidya Devalokaha. Through Vidya, you get the world of the gods. Na tatra dakshinayanti. There are two margas, Uttarayana Marga and Dakshinayana Marga. The path of the gods and the path of the mains. The path of the gods is called Uttarayana. The path of the mains or Pitrus is called Dakshinayana. Na tatra dakshinayanti. They do not go to the world of the loka of the mains, of the Pitrus. Those who do upasana, who do meditation on the gods. Karmana Pitruloka iti. Through karmas, rites and rituals, you attain the Pitruloka. Nehi Shastra Vihidam Kinjit Akartavyadam Yad. Whatever is told by the Shastra, it is not that it should not be done, that can never be done. That can never be done. For instance, Shastra tells us to do rites. Shastra tells us to do upasanas. Then it is censure is done. He who does rites falls into darkness. No. That whatever Shastra, so then we have, how should we understand it? We should understand it not in the literal sense. Why? Because Shastra has already ordained a separate result for it, for rites, and another result for upasanas, meditation. So again, to say that one falls into darkness, if you take it literally, there is a contradiction. So whatever Shastras has told us, it is something worthy of being doing. It can never be unworthy of being done. Tatra andham tamo adarshanaatmagam tamaha pravishanti. Now it comes to the regular. Now this much is the introduction to the verse. Now the verse is being interpreted. Tatra andham tamaha adarshanaatmagam tamaha pravishanti. He enters into adarshanaatmagam tamaha. Darkness, blinding darkness. That is what darshanatmagam tamaha adarshanaatmagam. So adarshanaatmagam tamaha means he falls into some darkness that is very bad. And darshanatmagam tamaha is something better. Tatra andham tama, because both are, compared to Brahma Vidya, both are tamas, whether rites or upasanas. So both are called tamas only. In order to, so there is a praise of Brahma Vidya also involved here. We have to understand it from the adjective andham tamaha, blinding darkness. Tatra andham tamaha adarshanaatmagam tamaha pravishanti. He enters into blinding darkness. Who? Ke? Ye avidya vidyaya anya avidya tam karma ityartha. Ye avidya. So avidya, the meaning of the word avidya is being interpreted. That which is different from vidya is avidya. It doesn't mean ignorance of Vedanta. The ignorance that comes upon Brahman is not meant here. That becomes associated with Brahman or becomes associated with Ishvara is not meant here. What it means is that which is different from Vidya or Upasana. That which is, what is that? It is karma. So, ye avidya vidyaya anya, that which is different from avidya. What is that? Karma. Karmano vidya virodhitvat, because karma and vidya are opposed to each other because both have different results. Tam avidyam agnihotradi lakshanameva. Avidyam agnihotradi lakshanameva kevalam upasate. He who performs the physical rites of Agnihotra, he does not give any thought to the symbolism or significance behind it. He just does mechanically the actions of Agnihotra as it is ordained by the scriptures. Avidyam agnihotradi lakshanameva kevalam upasade tat paraha santo anutishtanti ityaviprayaha. He is always engaged in the physical rites without any thought to the significance behind it. Tada tasmat andhatmaga tamaso bhuya iva bahutaram te tamaha pravishanti. Even deeper darkness he falls. Who falls? Ke karma hitva ye tu vidyayam eva devadatnyane eva rata abhirataha. But another person falls into deeper darkness. Who is he? He does upasana only. He does not do the physical rite at all. The problem is that you both are to be there. Only with actions you can get rid of the bad tendencies. Good actions are to be done. Physical actions are very important in countering the tendencies to do bad actions. There is a small story can be told with regard to this. there was an ashrama and there was a Swami there. A guru was there in that ashrama. He had a disciple. 2-3 disciples was there. One disciple was engaged with the responsibility of cooking for the guru. He had to cook food for the guru and give to him. Some days after, it was noticed that the guru was noticing that this food that was being given to the guru, that the disciple was giving to him, was being overcooked, or some flaw is there, it is being burnt or something like that. Then the guru sternly told, I see your head is being eaten by somebody. Something bad is going to happen to you, I can see it. Then after some days the news came that this disciple had a fault. He had a very fault. He was associated with some devotees, some female devotees, and had a fault, and he had to leave the ashram. The point that is made here is that is a sign. If he was this engaging in work was very important, because it keeps in abeyance the bad tendencies that want to come out every moment. So to be meticulous in your actions is very important. It neutralizes those tendencies that want to come out, that is waiting to express itself. If he just relaxes a bit, if he just withdraws from actions a little bit. So that is how karmas are important. It neutralizes the bad tendencies, the bad samskaras that are waiting to come out. So, and in this sense it is told that he who does meditation only without doing works will fall into deeper darkness, because the bad tendencies can any moment express itself through him. So it is important to meticulously perform actions also. Ye karma hitva ye tu vidyayam eva devadajnane eva rataha abhirataha. Now the next verse is the anyadeva ahuhu vidyaya avidyaya idi shushruma dhiranam ye naha tad vijachakshire. Anyadeva ahuhu vidyaya. Now it is being told, in the previous verse, censure was done separately of karma, vidya and avidya. Now he is telling both have got their separate results. So he is telling anyadeva ahuhu vidyaya. The result of vidya is separate. Separate from what? From that of avidya. Anyadeva ahuhu vidyaya. Anyadahuhu avidyaya, and a separate result is mentioned for avidya, which in this context means karmas. Iti shushruma dhiranam. Thus we heard from the wise, dhiranam vachanam. We heard the words, thus we heard from the words of the wise. Who were they, these dhiras? Who were these discriminating ones? Ye nastad vijachakshire. He who explained these to us. From those wise ones we have understood it this way, that both have got separate results. Now this can be explained. Tatra avantara phalavedam vidya karmanoho samuchchaya karanamaha. Avantara phalavedam. Pradhana phalavedam is not there. That is, through vidya you get devaloka, or avidya you get pitriloka. But avantara phalavedam means if you do karma, it has got a secondary result. It keeps in suspension bad thoughts, bad tendencies that wants to express itself through you. It neutralizes them. This is the avantara phala of karma. अन्यदा फलवत् अफलवतोः सन्निहितयोः अंगांगित्वेन एव अंगांगिना एव स्यात् इत्यर्थः. Otherwise, you will understand a thing as Vidya and Avidya are Anga and Angi. That is, Vidya is Anga, Upasana, and Karma is Angi, a part of it. That is Anga Angi Bhava, that is the whole and the part. Now, there is, with reference to one puja, something else is mentioned. You have to cook food. You cook offering for the deity. Now that cooking offering to the deity doesn't have a separate phala apart from the phala of the puja. Whatever phala of the puja is there, the same thing phala will come if you do the actions involved in the puja. That is Anga Angi Bhava. That is the whole and the part. But Vidya and Avidya are not the whole and the part, because both have got separate results. Through Vidya you get a different Devaloka, through Karma you get Brahmaloka. And it doesn't qualify as the whole and the part, because the part has no result apart from that of the whole. So it is not like that. This Avidya, Vidya and Avidya is not Angangi Bhava. Should not be interpreted as being the whole and the part. Anyadeva ityadi. Atyanta prithakeva vidyaya kriyate. Phalam ityahuhu vadanti. Vidyaya devaloko vidyaya tadarohanti iti shrutehe. That is, different results are mentioned for each, for Vidya and Avidya. So, there can be no Angangi Bhava with respect to it, because through Vidya you get Devaloka and through Avidya you get Brahmaloka. No, Pitraloka. Anyadahur Avidyaya karmana kriyate. Through karma you get Avidya, karma you get a different result. Karmana pitraloka idi shrutehe. Ityevam shushruma shrutavanto vayam dhīrāṇāṁ dhīmathāṁ vajanam. Thus we heard the words of the wise. Ye acharya naha asmabhyam tat karma cha jnanam cha vichachakshire. Those are teachers have explained this to us, that the result of karmas and the result of rites and upasanas, meditations are different. Vyakhyadavantaha, vichachakshire meaning is Vyakhyadavantaha. They have done Vyakhyana, they have explained it, clearly explained this to us. Esham ayam agamaha paramparyagadaha ityartaha. This agama, this scriptural, those wise ones, why are they called wise? Because they have that agama, that sacred text, they have been studying through tradition. Traditionally they have studied it. So they know very well which word signifies what. So they know very well when they say that both has to be combined, and that what is being done here is that the combination is being praised. Next, now comes the shloka that is enjoining combination of Vidya and Avidya. Vidyam cha avidyam cha yastad veda ubhayam saha avidyaya mrityum tirtva vidyaya amritamashnote. Vidyam cha avidyam cha yastad veda ubhayam saha. Yastad ubhayam saha veda. Vidyam cha avidyam cha. He who knows them together. That ubhayam saha means he who knows both together. And both is meant the phala of both together. That this both Vidya and Avidya can be practiced by the same person at the same time. This is the point. Both can be done. A person is doing work. He has got his responsibilities. He has got to do. He has got so many responsibilities. He finishes all those responsibilities, and after his work is over, he comes back. This is a practical explanation of this verse. He does that, all the works he does very diligently. He comes back and he spends his time in meditation. This is the combination of both. So, he knows the results of Ubhayam Saha. Yastad Ubhayam Saha Veda. He who knows the results of both together, that this can be performed by the same man. Vidya and Avidya can be performed by the same man. He who knows that. Avidya, what happens to him? He who knows the result, he who has obtained the result, he has performed both and has got the result of these. What happens to him? Avidyaya mrityum tirtva. With the help of avidya karma, he overcomes death. What is death here? Death here has got a specific meaning, which means swabhavika ajnana and karma. That is what is called the crude tendencies in man, the carnal tendencies or carnal actions, or what is motivated by crude desires, etc. This he overcomes through avidya, through karma. By doing karmas diligently, he overcomes the bad tendencies, the savage tendencies that are trying to manifest through him. Those are neutralized. That is called this swabhavika jnanam karmacha. That swabhavika, that is that savage tendencies and savage actions. This he overcomes. Avidya, through what? Through karma. Avidyaya mrityum tirtva. Then Vidyaya amritam ashnute. And through meditation, through upasana, he attains immortality. That is, what is upasana? What is the phala of upasana? Phala of upasana. So the phala of avidya is actually negative. Karma. What? It keeps in abeyance the bad tendencies that wants to manifest through him. It neutralizes it. It doesn't have any other effect. It neutralizes it. Of course, it has an effect that the Shastras say, which is going to the Pitraloka. But the mantra is not concerned with that here. As such, the separate results it is not concerned with. What it is concerned with is the combination of both. So, avidyaya mrityum tirtva. You overcome death in the form of swabhavika jnana and karma with the help of karmas, and then vidyaya amritam ashnute. And vidya, through meditation on the gods, it attains devatatma bhava. It attains oneness with the deity. This is what is the phala of vidya. So the result of combining both is this. Both have got their place. That is, through karma, you overcome bad tendencies. Through vidya, you attain concentration. You attain oneness with the gods. Now we will see what the Bhashya says. Yada evam ado vidyam cha avidyam cha devadajnanam karma cha. So, devadajnanam means vidya and karma means avidya. Devadajnana karma cha ityartha yastad etad ubhayam saha. Ubhayam saha veda. Both are known together. What does it mean? Ekena purushena anushteyam veda. That it is worthy of being practiced by the same person. That the one person at the same time can practice both. This is the point made here. A person can do karmas, and after the karma is done, he can do meditation also. But this cannot be done with reference to Brahma Vidya. That is the point made here. But this can be combined. We can combine meditation, upasana with karma. Yastadedad upayam saha ekena purushena anušteyam veda. That one person can practice both karma and jnana, vidya and avidya, upasana and rites. Tasya evam samuchayakarinah eva egega purushartha sambandha क्रमेण स्याद् इत्युच्यते. एकैक पुरुषार्थ संबंधः क्रमेण स्यात्. That is, through succeeding sages he gets each purushartha. He first gains the lower purushartha of through karma, he may gain Pitraloka, but if he does upasana, he will gain Devaloka also, Devadatma Bhava also. He will get oneness with the deities also. Avidyaya, Karmana, Agnihotradina, Mrityum. The meaning of Mrityu, death, is being made clear here. Swabhavigam Karma Jnanam Cha. What is called the basic instinctual actions and knowledge. Swabhavigam karma jnanam cha. Mrityu shabdavachyam ubhayam tirtva. Both is indicated by mrityu. Swabhaviga karma and jnana. That which is done, animal instinct we say, like that. The instinctual tendencies and actions. Swabhavigam karma jnanam cha mrityu shabdavachyam ubhayam tirtva adhikramya. Tirtva means adhikramya, overcoming those. Vidyaya devadatnyanena amritam. Devadatma bhavam ashnute prapnoti. He gets oneness with the devatas, with the gods. Tadhi amritam uchyate yad devadatma gamanam. What is amritam? So, Mrityum Tirtva means he overcomes death in the form of the bad instincts or the crude instincts and the crude actions that wants to express itself. And through Amritatva means here Devadatma Bhava. That is, he attains Devadatma Gamanam. He attains oneness with the deities. So, this is over. Now, Vidya and Avidya has been explained. Next comes what is called Andham Tama Pravishanti Ye Asambhuti Upasate. Alright. Andham Tama Pravishanti Ye Asambhuti Upasate Tato Bhuya Ivate Tamo Yaku Sambhutyam Rataha. So now it was karma and upasana was mentioned here. Now a separate thing is being mentioned. Two kinds of upasanas. We can say that the worship of the formless and the formed. Or even one can say the worship of the known and the unknown. These are there are two kinds of, that is, one is the worship of the formed and the formless, or the worship of the known or the unknown. Now, what is Andham Tamaha Pravishanti Ye Asambhuti Upasate? He who meditates on the unformed, or he who meditates on the unknown, he falls into darkness. Unformed means here the Prakriti. That is how it is translated in this verse. Prakriti means, as we know, that avidya, in its state of, in the balanced state when nothing has come out of it. when that sattva, rajas and tamas is in a balanced state, is called avyakrita, avyakta, avyakrita, prakriti. When the balance is disturbed, creation starts. This is what Vedanta says. So, this here by avidya is meant that avyakrita state. When nothing is come out, that when everything is in a intangible mist or something that is everything is covered with darkness, when nothing, the creation has not yet emerged. That state is called avyakrita, where what is called the gunas are held in balance. The balance is disturbed, then creation starts. First comes the Vedantic thing is that what Vedanta says is that first the sukshma bhutas come out, like Agasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, Prithvi. Ether, or what is called the primal matter, first comes out, then Vayu, the primal force comes out, then Agni, that comes out, fire, the element of fire, the element of water, and the element of smell comes out. Earth comes out or smell, and these become combined in a particular, these become aligned both with the subject as well as the object. As it becomes aligned with in the subjective side, it becomes the indriyas, what is called the senses, and on the objective side, it becomes a kind of compounding takes place, from which all these gross elements, which includes our physical body, comes out. So then all these five elements are again combined. That is, these five elements separately become the senses. Agasha becomes the organ of hearing. The Vayu becomes the organ of the sense of touch within us. Agni becomes the sense of seeing within us. And Apa, water, becomes the sense of taste within us. And Prithvi becomes the grana, the sense of smell within us. And then again these are combined these are compounded in what is called the Panjikarana. That is, half of each element is combined with 1/4 of all the others. 1/4 Agasha, 1/4 Agni, 1/4, let us say this, half Agasha, 1/4 Vayu, 1/4 Agni, 1/4 Apa, 1/4 Prithvi. All this is combined, it becomes one unit of gross earth. This is how all these things are done. So, the point is that Asambhuti as compared to Sambhuti and Asambhuti, these two words are used here. Where Asambhuti is meant that primal state when creation has not yet emerged, when all the gunas or the qualities, sattva, rajas and tamas, are held in a perfect balance. That is called here Asambhuti Prakriti. And here it is called unformed. There is no form. We are not meditating on any form. And also it is the unknown. The unknown. We do not know what it is. It's a great mysterious one. You meditate on that. Now the Vedanta never supports meditation on what is called the mysterious or the unknown. The example for this is there are some verses in the Kathopanishad where it is told, the categories are told. What I have just now described in a verse form, it is there in Kathopanishad. Indriyebhyaha parahi arthaha arthebhyascha param manaha manasastu para buddhihi buddheratma mahan paraha indriyebhya parahyartha. Higher than the sense organs is the objects of the senses. What is meant here is higher than the sense organs are its constituents, which is the 5 subtle elements which are common to both the subject as well as the object. So, Indriyebhya Parahyartha. The Sukshma elements, the subtle elements are superior to the senses. Arthebhyascha Param Manaha. Higher than the arthas, that is, the subtle elements is the manas. Why the manas is superior is because the mind contains is the only element that contains all these elements. All these 5 elements are combined to form the mind. In all other objects, indriyas or external objects, that combination is there, but it is not combined. It is not of a higher order, it is of a lower order. So the mind is considered higher than the subtle elements even. Artebhyascha param manaha. Manasastu para buddhi. Higher than the mind is the buddhi, intellect. Why? Because it contains also the reflection of pure consciousness. That is the ability to know only the buddhi has. Also, the identification with the I, aham, this feeling of awareness of I, that is there in the buddhi only. Manasastu para buddhihi. Then he says, buddhehe atma mahan paraha. Higher than the buddhi is the mahan atma. By the mahan atma is meant the cosmic buddhi, the cosmic intellect, the cosmic soul, or what is called, we understood by the Hiranyagarbha. This is meant by the cosmic buddhi. So, higher than the senses is the subtle elements, higher than the subtle elements is the mind, higher than the mind is even the buddhi, the individual buddhi. And higher than the individual buddhi is the cosmic buddhi. Buddher atma mahan paraha mahada param avyaktam. Here we come to that avyakta. So that is why this verse is mahada param avyaktam. Higher than the mahad, cosmic intellect is the avyakta, the undifferentiated prakriti or nature, undifferentiated nature, where the qualities are held in balance. Mahada param avyakta purusha paraha. Higher than the purusha, prakriti is the purusha. The witnessing consciousness is higher than this. Purushanna param kinchit sa kashtha sa paragatihi. There is nothing higher than the purusha. He is the highest. He is the sakashta. He is the limit. He is the ultimate thing to be attained in this world. Saparagati. He is the limit. He is the ultimate thing to aspire for in this world. Now, then it is told here, now the categories were described like this. But now after some 1 or 2 verses, again the sadhana is described. Now there is a small difference where the sadhana is described. The sadhana goes like this. Yachet vam manasi pratnyaha tad yachet jnana atmani jnanam atmani mahati niyachet tad yachet shanta atmani. Now he is telling, how is the sadhana to be practiced? The categories were described. This is superior to this, this is superior to this. Now he is telling, merge vak manasi. He is telling that vak is there, that subtle elements are there, which are the constituents of both the indriyas and the external objects. You merge that in the mind. Yachet vam manasi pratnyaha. The discriminating one, with the help of his discrimination, should merge the subtle elements into the mind. Yachet vam manasi pratnyaha tad yachet. That mind should be merged in what? Jnana atmani. That mind should be merged in the buddhi or the intellect. Tad yachet jnana atmani. Jnanamatmani mahati niyachet. The individual buddhi should be merged in the cosmic mind. In the cosmic mind. And the cosmic mind, Jnanamatmani mahati niyachet, in what is called the Hiranyagarbha. The individual should be merged in that. Or what is called, before it was discussed, like that Vayuhu Matarishva, that is that Mahati Niyachet, Matarishvayati iti Sarva Pranabhrit Vayuhu, that which supports all life forces, that is Hiranyagarbha. That individual Aham, individual Buddhi should be merged in that cosmic intellect, cosmic prana, whatever it is, whatever terminology you used, it should be merged. And tad yachet, and that cosmic mind should be merged in what? Shanta Atmani, in the self. Now the difference here is when the categories were discussed, one is superior, one is superior to the preceding one. It was told there that Avyakta, there was a mention of Avyakta is superior to what is called Mahat. Avyakta is superior to Mahat, and superior to Avyakta is Atman. But when the sadhana is being prescribed, the Avyakta is not mentioned. They are jumping directly from Mahat to Purusha. Avyakta is not mentioned because Avyakta, the Shastras never ordain as a category of meditation. The Avyakta or Prakriti, one should not meditate on Avidya. Vedanta doesn't ordain meditation on Avidya. On Avidya, on the unknown. It never does that. That is why even in the Kena Upanishad it is told that it is different from the known and it is superior to the unknown. The self is not unknown. You meditate on the self should always be meditated as something that is different from the known and as something superior to the unknown. That it is not something unknown, it is something superior to it. Because it witnesses it, it can never be known as a subject. So the Vedanta never encourages the meditation of the unknown or the mysterious or anything like that. But here it is told, it is an upasana. So that is why here it is told, ye avidya, ye asambhuti is told here. This is a inferior kind of meditation that is told here. Not the contemplation of the truth, not the process of knowing the truth through the scripturally ordained process of hearing, Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana, of hearing, contemplating on of meditating on what is heard upon and then contemplating on it. Hearing, rationally thinking of the pros and cons of the thing and meditating on it. These three processes, this is the sadhana prescribed for Brahma Vidya. But here it is told, a different thing is told, Andham tama pravishanti ye avidyam upasade. He who meditates on the undifferentiated nature only. That is also ordained by the scriptures. So, he who meditates on avidya or prakriti, he falls into, not avidya, sorry, he who meditates on prakriti, asambhuti, on the unformed or the undifferentiated, on the prakriti, he falls into deeper darkness. Tato bhuya ivate tamo yau sambhutyam rataha. But he falls into even deeper darkness, yau sambhutyam rataha. He who is engaged, he who is attracted to the worship of the sambhuti alone. What is meant here? Sambhuti. Asambhuti means the unformed. And the sambhuti means the formed, the manifest one. What is that? That is the Hiranyagarbha, that universal reality that permeates the whole universe, that which holds all the pranas together. That is called Hiranyagarbhopasana is meant here. Hiranyagarbha means Hiranya is golden and Garbha means womb. That which is the cause of everything. That which permeates everything as what is called the thread soul or the Sutratma. All bodies and minds, not only in this world but in all the worlds. So, he who is engaged to the worship of the Hiranyagarbha Upasana or alone also falls into even deeper darkness. So here also that Ninda is to be understood in the sensual, is to be understood in the proper context. That is, both are to be combined. That is the point made here. He who does the meditation on the Prakriti alone, unformed alone, without practicing meditation on the gods or the Hiranyagarbha falls into darkness, and he who meditates on the Hiranyagarbha alone without trying to understand the concept of Prakriti also falls into darkness. Adhuna Vyakrita Avyakrita Upasanayoho Samuccichishaya Pratyegam Ninda Uchyate. That is Samuccichishaya, with the desire to Samucchichisha. That is the desire to combine. Samuchaya means combination. Samucchichisha means the desire to combine. With the desire, Tritiya comes here, with the desire to combine, Pratyega Ninda Kriyate, that each is being censured, so that the sadhaka will combine both. What is being combined? Vyakrita Upasana and Avyakrita Upasana. The meditation on the formed and the meditation on the formless. Both are to be combined. With a view to this, each is being separately censured. Andham tamaha pravishanti ye asambhutim sambhavanam sambhutihi sa yasya karyasya sa sambhutihi tasya anya asambhutihi sambhavanam sambhutihi sa yasya karyasya sa sambhutihi. First, before understanding asambhuti, we have to understand sambhutihi. What is sambhutihi? That which comes into being. That effect that comes into being is called here sambhutihi. That is, the Hiranyagarbha is the first product that comes out. So that is sambhutihi. That has come out. That has become manifest. So, Sambhuti means the Hiranyagarbha, that which has become manifest, the Hiranyagarbha. And as opposed to that which has not come out, its cause, is Asambhuti, which is Prakriti. Tasya Anya Asambhutihi. Different from the Sambhuti is Asambhutihi. What is that? Prakritihi. Karanam. The Karana, the cause of the Sambhuti, cause of the manifest. Avidya Avyakridakya. Other names are mentioned of Prakritihi. It is called Avidya and it is also called Avyakritakya, the unmanifest, the undifferentiated. Tam Asambhutim Avyakritakya Prakritim Karanam Avidyam. All this is mentioned, all are adjectives of Prakriti. Asambhuti, Avyakrita, Prakriti, Karanam. It is the cause of whatever is coming out of it. Of the Sambhuti, of the cosmic soul and all these creations. Karanam, Avidya, Kama Karma Bija Bhuta, which is the seed of desire and action. Avidya is the seed of desire and action. Kama Karma Bija Bhuta. This is also adjective of Avidya. Adarshanatmika, upasate, which can adarshanatmika, which cannot be, it is avidya. So avidya is always, you do upasana of anything of these. That is adarshanatmika only, because darkness is there. The darkness, the absence of knowledge is common to both. Adarshanatmikam upasate. Ye, who does that? Te. Tat anurupameva andham tamaha adarshanatmagam pravishanti. He who meditates on this prakriti falls into blinding darkness. Tadat tasmadapi bhuyo bahutaramivaha tamaha pravishanti. Even blind, greater darkness he falls into. Who falls into? Yahu sambhutyam karya brahmani hiranya garbhakye rataha. He who meditates on the karya brahma, on hiranya garbha, on the golden wombed one, on the effect in the form of Brahman, he who meditates on that. That is, Karya Brahman means here the cosmic soul, Hiranyagarbha. So, he who meditates on that without understanding the Prakriti concept falls into even blinding or greater darkness. Now, next verse comes. Anyadeva ahuhu sambhavat. Anyad ahuhu asambhavat. Iti shushruma dhiranam ye naha tad vichachakshide. Now, just like the previous, just like it was told in the case of Vidya and Avidya, again it is told here, the case of Sambhuti and Asambhuti. Anyadeva ahuhu sambhavat. The phala, the result of meditating on Hiranyagarbha is different. Anyadeva ahuhu sambhavat. Anyad ahuhu asambhavat. The result of meditating on Prakriti Asambhava means here Asambhuti Prakriti. The cause of Sambhuti, that also is different. Idi shushruma dhiranam ye naha tad bijachakshire. This we have heard from those wise ones who explain these to us, who explain these traditionally to us, who have known this understood the secret of both of these traditionally. Now, adhuna ubayoho upasanayoho samuchaya karanam avayava phalabedavaha anyadeva iti. Now, it is told why these should be compared, why these should be combined. There is a reason for that is being told here. Anyadeva prutukeva ahuhu phalam sambhavat sambhutehe. A different result is mentioned for the Sambhuti, for meditating on the cosmic soul or the Hiranyagarbha. Karya Brahmopasanat Animadi Aishwarya Lakshanam Vyakhyadavantaha Ityartaha. What is the phala? No, the Shastra says there is a phala of meditating on Hiranyagarbha is you get some siddhis, you get some subtle powers you get. All these are mentioned in the yogic texts. So, this is that meditation gives you so many subtle benefits, so many senses open within us. To put it very plainly, we get, the mind becomes very subtle, then certain powers the mind gets. Now the yogic shastras describe it as ashta siddhis, anima, laghima. You can be as small as an atom. You can be as big as a mountain if you want. You can, so many things are mentioned. Ashta siddhis are mentioned. So, by meditating on the Hiranyagarbha, you get, this is the phala you will get. You will get the ashta siddhis. You won't get moksha. That is the point. Moksha is higher than this. So, Karya Brahmobhasana, Animadi Aishwarya Lakshanam, all these Aishwaryas, subtle powers you will get. Vyakhyadamantaha ityartaha. So through Sambhuti you get Animadi Aishwarya, subtle powers. The mind gets subtle powers. Tadacha anyadahuhu asambhavat asambhudehe avyakruta upasanat yaduktam andham tama pravishanti prakriti-laya idicha pauranikaihi uchyate. And through the upasana of the Prakriti, through the Prakriti, what do you get? You get Avyakruta upasana. Through the upasana of Prakriti, you become Prakriti-laya. This is a phala that is mentioned, that you merge in Prakriti. And the next time you are born as one of the gods or the controllers of the universe, some power that is controlling the whole universe. These are all the things that are told in our Shastras. So the phala of Hiranyagarbha upasana is Animadi Aishwarya. You get subtle powers of the mind. And through the Prakriti upasana, through the Asambhuti upasana, which is Prakriti upasana or Avyakruta upasana, you become what is called the Prakriti-laya. You merge in the Prakriti, you become one with the Prakriti. And all these different things are mentioned. We need not go into that. Ityevam shushruva dhiranam vachanam. Thus we heard the words of the discriminating ones. Ye nastad vijachakshire. They have explained, who have explained these to us. Vyakruta avyakruta upasana phalam vyakhyadamantaha. Who have explained to us the result of meditating the formed and the unformed. Now the last one. The last one of this upasana, this thing. Sambhudincha vinashamcha yastad veda ubhayam saha vinashena mrityum tirtva sambhutya amritamashnute. Now again it is told that it has to be combined. Sambhuti. So here the thing is, some words has to be understood in a different sense. Actually, asambhuti is to be understood by the word sambhuti. This is what Shankara says in the commentary. Asambhuti means the unformed, the Prakriti. And here it is mentioned, the result is being mentioned. That what happens to the person who combines both, who performs both of these, what phala comes to him, what result comes to him. This is being mentioned. And because result is being mentioned, instead of asambhuti, the phala of asambhuti is mentioned as sambhuti. Because asambhuti is unformed, but the result, a tangible result has come to him. So, instead of asambhuti, the word that is used is sambhuti. That is, he who understands sambhuti means he has got the result of meditating. He who has understood, he has performed both. He has performed the upasana of the Prakriti, of the unformed, vinashamcha. Now vinasha, why is it told vinasha? By vinasha is meant again Hiranyagarbha. Why it is told vinasha? Because it will get destroyed one day. When that it will also get merged in the Prakriti. That is it is the cause. It will according to the Shastras, they have got their own mathematics. It will say millions and millions and millions or trillions and trillions of years that cosmic soul will remain, and then it will get merged in Prakriti. So vinasha means here that which will be destroyed. So sambhutim means Prakriti and vinasha means here Hiranyagarbha. Yastad ubhayam sahaveda, he who knows both of these, he who has performed the upasana of both. What happens? Vinashena mrityum tirtva. Through Hiranyagarbha upasana, he overcomes death and Sambhutya, through Prakriti Laya, he attains immortality, relative immortality. That immortality also is not the absolute immortality. For absolute immortality, you have to know the self, the Atman. So, relative immortality is mentioned here. Vinashena mrityum tirtva, through the mention of, through the worship, overcoming death with the help of Hiranyagarbha upasana, sambhutya amritam ashnute. Through the worship of through the upasana of Prakriti, he attains the immortality characterized by Prakriti Laya. Now, I will just read the Bhashya and stop it. Yada evam atah samuchchayaha sambhuti asambhuti upasanayoho yukta eva eka purushartatvat cha ityartah. Yada evam atah samuchchayaha sambhuti asambhuti upasanayoho yuktah yukta eva eka purushartatvacha ityaha. That is, Sambhodhi cha vinasham cha yastad vedha ubhayam saha. He who knows both Sambhodhi and Vinasha. He who knows both what is called Asambhodhi. Sambhodhi here means Asambhodhi. The Prakriti as well as Hiranyagarbha. Yastad Veda Ubhayam Saha. He who knows them both together. Vinashena, Vinasho Dharma Yasya Karyasya. Satena Dharmino Abhedena Uchyate Vinashayiti. So Vinashena means that which is destroyed cannot be worshipped. That which has the attribute of destruction is being mentioned here as Vinasha. What is that? Hiranyagarbha. It will be one day destroyed. So in that sense it is called Vinasha. So that which has the attribute of destruction, he who meditates on that. Satena dharmino abhedena uchyate vinashayiti. So Vinasha is called, Hiranyagarbha is called Vinasha because one day it will be, after trillions and trillions of years, it will be destroyed. So it is called Vinasha. Tena tad upasanena. What happens through the Hiranyagarbha upasana? What happens? Anaishwaryam adharma kamadi doshajadam cha mrityum tirtva. All anaishwaryam, that which is all that is adharma kamadi, that is desires and adharma, tendencies for doing adharma, kama, desires, etc. All these are destroyed. These are opposite to Aishwarya. These are all, so all these things will go away. So it is called Mrityum Tirtva. So in that sense it is told that through Hiranyagarbha upasana you overcome death in the form of adharma kamadi tendencies, in the form of adharmic tendencies and sensual tendencies. Mrityum Tirtva. Hiranyagarbhopasanena hi animadi praptihi phalam. So when these things go away, you get the Ashtasiddhis. The mind will have the capabilities of manifesting these powers when these things go away, when the doshas of the mind like kama, desires and adharma, adharmic tendencies go away. Tena anishwaryadi mrityum aditya. Mrityu, death in the form of anaishwarya. Aishwarya is, one can say, the divine tendencies or the divine powers, or anaishwarya is what? Opposed to that. Tena anishwaryadi mrityum aditya, overcoming that. Tirtva means aditya. असंभूत्या अव्याकृत उपासनया through asambhuti, through avyakrita upasana, through the upasana of prakriti, amritam, prakriti laya lakshanam ashnute. He attains the amritatva in the form of prakriti laya. Sambhutincha vinashancha ityatra avarna lobena nirdesho drashtavyaha. Prakriti laya phala shrutya anurodhat. Because that is what? By sambhutimcha vinashamcha. By sambhuti it should be understood as asambhuti. That is what is told here in the last sentence. That avarna has been removed when sambhuti is mentioned. What is the reason for doing that? The reason is that the phala of asambhuti worship is being mentioned. And that result is something tangible. So, instead of asambhuti, sambhuti is mentioned from the standpoint of the result. But from the standpoint of the meditation, it is asambhuti, it is prakriti. But from the standpoint of the result which is attained, which is prakriti laya, it is a tangible result that has been attained. So, instead of asambhuti, the word sambhuti is used. This is the sense. So, this is the end of the 14th verse. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
He's a very active volunteer.